Today we're going to talk about SaaS marketing and 17 tactics that you can add to your strategy to market and grow your SaaS business. This is a conversation I have way too many times with founders, other SaaS marketers, so I figured I'd record a video that shares the 17 things I recommend for SaaS companies to actually grow their business. No particular order, but these are 17 tactics you can add or choose to add to your marketing arsenal. All right, let's jump into it. Number one, free tools or educational content. Think 10x content. Mailshake, you've seen our masterclass, our playbook. We've got a couple other guides coming out. We have a new tool that's like an email analyzer, but those are all great things. Now, put it into HubSpot example, their website grader. Neil Patel has tons of guides and ranks for pretty much every freaking digital marketing keyword. I'm coming for you, Neil. So free content or free educational material and free tools are great because they provide a lot of value, and then you can get emails and really build up that audience from there, get rankings, and have an evergreen traffic source to generate revenue. Number two, have a free trial on your SaaS product. Yep, not really a marketing thing, but free trial users versus paid, much higher. So paid, you might have a higher friction point early on. You're not going to get as many email addresses. One thing you can do is check out the Mailshake sign-up flow, and we have a two-step sign-up flow where we don't technically have a free trial, it's paid, but we can capture email addresses, and now we treat it as an abandoned cart sequence. So that's another way, but ultimately if you're new or you want to build up momentum or you really want to go after a competitor, make it your business or product a free trial. You're going to get a lot more awareness, a lot more people through the door, and if you're early, you can get a lot of that early feedback and customer development and products feedback. So definitely do that. Number three, and I said this before, but identify your ideal customers. Identify who the heck you're selling to. What this will do is two things. It will help you, one, find out where they are and make sure your marketing actually goes after them. Too many times you're like, I want to market my business, I'm going to do it this way, that way, but you don't really figure out and sit down to like, who is the actual customer, where are they going, how can I get them? And when you do this, make sure you understand what their problems are. I said this before, but you can create content all around their top problems and cross-reference that with SEO, and you can get some or keyword research, and you can get some really good SEO juice out of it. But doing that it's a huge thing. You don't think it's going to grow your business, but it's probably the basics, like the fundamental to grow your business. Number four, speaking of fundamentals, lay the inbound marketing and SEO and content marketing, which is what I call inbound marketing, foundational efforts. So find out the keywords. Is it blog posts? You need to keep blogging. One, this is going to help pay dividends in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. This is what's going to help you drive ongoing traffic. It may have very little impact in the first 6 months of your business, but it's definitely one of the core channels in how you can grow your SaaS company. So don't forget about that. And I can tell you, I'm kicking my butt every day for not going even earlier into creating content in that foundational efforts, because those who did got the advantage, and it only gets harder and harder as there's more competitors, more content that's already good, and people who are willing to do more work than you. Number five, add a call to action to the top of your blog, and maybe even remove your top navigation, or email opt-in to your blog. So aggressively collect email addresses from your blog. Don't just create content, and whatever you do, don't be like every other freaking dumb founder or SaaS marketer and create your blog on Medium. Create a freaking WordPress or whatever blog, host it on your domain, so now you can do pop-up, Sumo, opt-in monster, whatever you use as a tool, but you can then collect email addresses and control the experience, because Medium cares about medium. Although it looks like a very, very sexy platform, very simplistic, focused on the content, it really screws you on the call to action. So that is a tip and a warning there. Number six, focus on the service part of software as a service. What I mean by this is customer service, customer success, and really about how you talk to customers and how, when they have a problem, the process of which you go about solving it. Sounds really, really simple, but this is the key to word of mouth growth. And too many people focus on the software side and product features, bells and whistles about what they can make their product do better, but if you just helped your customers, actually physically help them, that could be the key difference between if you had an identical feature set to your competitor, but you just did better customer support or customer service, you can get more traction. So don't forget about that. Don't forget about the human element of software as a service, all right? Speaking of forgetting about things, don't forget your product is the marketing. People using your product, having a great experience, will generate word of mouth. In fact, maybe there's places to test out a referral program, test out maybe people sharing it, maybe people giving you feedback. These are all great things to do. Or maybe you look at your power users of your product and you engage them to essentially maybe write a case study, or you ask them how they're using it, who they are, get to really know them. And I talked about customer development earlier on, but maybe that's how you're going to get more details. But ultimately, your product, if you're running a SaaS business, your product is the marketing. If for Mailshake, for Voila, Norbert, I could speak to those because I'm very much in the weeds on that. If I just turned off all marketing, we would continue to grow. Now, it won't be as fast. Why is that the case? Because over 50% of our new customers and revenue comes from word of mouth. First of all, you can't steal that away from anybody. Number two, it came from just having a really good product with great UX and winning on price and a few other things. But ultimately, your product is the marketing. Don't forget about that. Another great tactic is to publish maybe an industry report. Forrester has done a great job at this. I know, yes, they are a report type company, but ultimately you can follow that same playbook. Maybe it's an annual update on whatever it is, on an industry update on SaaS, or an industry update on whatever your industry is. Those things can become, one, ongoing things that you do and help you build awareness, but two, this is a great reason to maybe reach out to all of the organizations, the conferences, the events, and maybe to get them to essentially push your content, your industry report out to their email list or their members. So double whammy there. And now you get in front of their members, and essentially they're aware of you, and you've got a really target group of customers. So don't forget about the industry report. Great tactic. Comparison pages. So your competitor name versus your company name, right? If you look and Google boomerang alternative, you will see lots of companies ranking for that. So competitor alternative or competitor versus your company, these are both great. Essentially allows you to rank for your competitors' brands. Not always possible. So if I were to create a Salesforce versus whatever, I probably can't rank for the keyword Salesforce, but maybe I can rank for a Salesforce alternative. Or maybe there is other CRMs that have lower competition or less of a brand that I could go after. So do your research and create a content piece accordingly. Another great tactic is to head over to QUORA and look at and search for your keywords. And you'll find, essentially, based off your keywords, people asking questions on what, recommendations for product, how to do this and whatever, how to do whatever you sell. And answer the questions that have the most highest views. And this way, you're more likely to essentially get more impact and traffic. Now, you'll probably see that there's a lot of answers. So be more robust than them. Be helpful. Don't push your product early on. Maybe you can push your product or example somewhere lower in there, and get your friends, get your network maybe to upload it. I've seen whole blog posts uploaded on QUORA. And speaking of blog posts, maybe you can republish some of your blog posts that answer a specific question on QUORA. So republishing your content on QUORA is a great place to do it, but again, in the form of an answer of a popular question. One of my favorite tactics here is guest post. Guest post is great for getting in front of people's audiences. So you'll see us you've seen me probably do a ton of guest posts. What I'm doing here is getting my brand, my company in front of a different audience. It's much easier for me to get in front of a different audience than it is for me to build my own. In fact, it is the way from all of these guest posts I've done to build my own audience. And so getting in front of other people's audience is great. Now, another powerful feature here, or another powerful thing, is if you look for guest post opportunities that where they email their content, all their content to their email list. Now, not just do you get in front of their audience, their traffic, you get in front of their email list and be top of mind. So really, really powerful there. And I would, if I were you, prioritize the ones who email their list over just a regular blog post. Another awesome tactic here is co-marketing. Again, leveraging other people's brands, co-marketing partnerships. Maybe it's a joint webinar. Maybe it's a deal that you do for people. You know, for Mailshake, we did a deal with LeadFuse. LeadFuse has some sort of deal that they offer for Mailshake. We've got something for them. It's a win-win for both of our companies. It's a win-win for our customers because they provide data. We allow you to send emails using that from that data. We don't provide data. So again, win-win, not our competitors, but they sell to the same customer. So that didn't start there. We started with a guest post and we did some more. We did a webinar. I did a video interview with Damien, one of their co-founders, and it kind of built upon it. So don't always start with a product integration. Start with maybe a blog post or a video or a webinar or something like that. That can work well as a starting point. Another great thing is live chat and chatbots. So I created a video recently on like Zenefits, and I went and booked a meeting and a demo with Zenefits, and essentially using their email form. It took me 5 days. Using their chat, I got a demo booked for the very next day. And the only reason it was the next day and not that same day, because it was a Sunday. So live chat can be great and chatbots can be great for scheduling demos because they happen much, much, much faster. The trend of the world of marketing is going into more conversational marketing anyways. You can answer quick questions on live chat and ultimately get people and turn them into a lead. So if you go to Mailshake right now, you'll see a live chat window if you're not a customer. And the first thing we ask you is, what's your email address? Where does that email address go? Right into our database. What do we do with that? Probably nothing to start, but if you said, hey, can you email us about this and that and the other, now we put that to a sales team or wherever. So live chat can be really, really powerful. The test I've done, about 17 companies I worked on with live chat, all of them saw an increase of 30% or greater in conversion rate. So I can't say it's going to work for you, but 17 times it's worked for me. So I would give it a try. One of my favorite things, and I have a lot of favorite things here, but one of my really absolute favorite things is to get in the friend zone or befriend an influencer, right? And all the influencers in the space. So why this is really important is like, then you get in the inside of what people are actually talking about. Like without all the noise, the fluff. One, you see how big that inside is. Two, it's actually not as hard as you think it is. Maybe you could provide an influencer free access to a tool. I read about marketing. I get lots and lots of marketing companies who ping me saying, hey, you're an influencer, can you do this? Now, it's not as bad as I just said it. It's not a crappy pitch like that. But they email me and the premise of it is for me to check out the software. Now, guess what? After I check out the software, they're going to ask me, do you like it? If I say yes, they're going to be like, awesome, can you write about it? I'm like, nope. Can you use it? And then of course I say yes, or if I can use it, I figure it out. And eventually, if I love it, I'm going to write about it. SEMrush did this to me about 5 years ago, and I fell in love with SEMrush. I actually use Ahrefs more these days, but I talk about SEMrush all the time because they're top of mind. I've been using it for 5 freaking years. All it did is they started off with, maybe they gave me a year and a half for free. And the smart thing they did, this is really, really important here, is they gave me 6 months for free. And then that made them have an excuse to email me month 5 to say, hey, how you liking this thing? Without annoying me, oh, by the way, here's your coupon or whatever it is to get your account for another 6 months. And they made me work for a little bit. So really, really powerful because it's a great excuse. You can do this for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. Really, really awesome to know the influencers because they're going to tell you what they like. They're going to tell you what they don't like about your competitors or what they love about your competitors. And you're going to get a lot of knowledge and marketing ammo for this. Number 15, yes, we're that far down the list here, is to create an email nurture sequence. Yes, I've said this before, but opt-ins are and email marketing is one of the most powerful ways to build an audience and really keep them up to date and build trust and really ultimately get sales after some time of nurturing. So build an email nurture sequence. You can maybe build a sequence based off of your top blog post or top content And if you don't have any content on your site, you're a brand new company, curate content. Curating is the second best to creating your own awesome content. So no excuses of why you can't create an email nurture sequence, right? Number 16, focus, and I can't say this enough, focus on your 1 or 2 top marketing channels. How do you know that they're your top marketing channels? Work backwards from your goal. You want 1,000 new customers a month? What are the channels that are going to get you there? Make a list of all the ideas. Now, think about build a hypothetical framework of like, okay, if I ranked really well for this keyword, how much traffic would it drive me? What's the conversion rate? It'll generate X amount of searches, X amount of conversions per month. Do that for all of the ideas that you listed out in this, and just pick the top 2. Pick the top 2 or 3 things and just go do them, and do them really, really well. Because there's no way a SaaS company, especially if you're bootstrapped, can focus on 5 or 6 things at one time, let alone 2 or 3. You do one, go to the next one. I usually focus 80% of my efforts on my main 1 or 2 channels, and then 20% on testing and kind of the stuff I don't know, so that I can get them to be at least 1, predictable, and 2, I get a gauge of where, if they're even going to be an opportunity, or rule them out in the first place. And the last tip is, don't read or watch or take everything you read for face value. First of all, everything's done really in bubbles. I told you I have 17 examples where live chat worked. It's worked for me 17 times. It could not work for me the 18th time, right? So read or watch videos, or learn, talk to people, get ideas. Use this for inspiration and motivation and for brainstorming ideas. Don't just implement it because it worked. Because the latest, greatest growth hack, first of all, the best growth hack is have an awesome product. So just go build an awesome product. That'll probably take you 10 years. But the things you read about aren't always as great as they sound when you implement it for yourself, because there's lots of variables in play. What works for B2B may not work for B2C. What works for me in my crowded market, Mailshake has 65 competitors, I think, that I know of at least, might not have any impact on your industry. So, take all of the stuff you learn as inspiration and apply, and run through that framework of choosing the 20% of ideas that you think will have the biggest impact for your brand.